Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue exploring Chinese three-character phrases or expressions. I've been doing this for October. It's a special edition. We only do three-character Chinese expressions. 一言堂 is today's expression. Okay, so 一, a little bit of language pronunciation. By itself, it's pronounced as E flat tone, and it means one. And according to the philosophy, or whoever came later, try to explain what Chinese is about. One is one single horizontal line. It means the sky. One is two. It's sky and earth, heaven and earth, right? One is three, something in the middle, right? What's in the middle? Humans. 天地人, that's 1, 2, 3, in that sequence too. So first, we have, at the beginning of things, we have the sky, and then we have the earth created, and then humans comes like last. Okay, so E by itself pronounced as E. Now, depends on what's the character after it. If this is rising tone, yan is rising, right? So to make the language flow more easily, this E becomes falling tone. So when it falls to the low ground, then it can rise up again. It can give this yan, right? It's a better curve. Of course, Chinese can combine in pronunciation in tones that we can do for falling tone, or any sort of combination. It all makes sense. It can still work, but just as a habit, because this E is used so often in all kinds of language creations, right? All kinds of expressions creations. So when one is before a rising tone, it becomes a falling tone. On the contrary, if it's before a fallen tone, it becomes rising tone. For example, 一再. So this 再 means again. 一再 means once again, like again and again, right? So we use 一再, right, to make that almost sine wave. We have uphill and downhill. There is this more smooth tonal switch. Okay, so that's a little bit of language. So we covered E in three ways of pronunciation, and it only comes in three ways. There's no the pitch bending one at the third tone. It doesn't do that way. Either it's flat as the original, or depends on the next pronunciation. It can go rising tone or fallen tone, so that it can complete this curve continuously. Okay, yan, I translate as a voice. It just means speaking, and speaking. I have now a new reading of it. Just happened before the class when I'm staring down on this character, because I would like to keep evolving my discovery, right? So I formulate a certain explanations of what this yan, why it looks like this, why when it looks like this, it means voice or speaking. I already have my theory built. Now I'm having a new way to explain it. So, okay, my original theory, this is a mouse symbol. So it's kind of a box with up to the corner. That's mouse symbol. And then we have this pointer thing. So there's two convex shape connected by a vertical line. That's like a pointer of entering the new space. That means inside something. So inside the mouse means it's the tongue. So we have the tongue composed of mouth and the symbol of inside the mouth. So literally in this one frame, besides the two top horizontal lines, the rest of them means the tongue. So in the tongue, we already have the mouth symbol built in to make the tongue. So mouth, tongue, both occur together in this symbol. That's the organ of speaking, right? And then two horizontal lines, I view them as sound bites travel through time and space in a diminishing order. So you see, that's the end result of speaking. So you have the sound bites, and then you have the organs to create the speech, right? So I have the organ and the result combined together. It means the practice of speaking. Now I just have a new view of it. Oh my gosh, okay. So this convex shape connected with a vertical line and the two horizontal lines, they became one unit in this new view. It's my second interpretation. So that was said to be an ancient corporal punishment tool. So I don't exactly know how that looks. Maybe one day I can discover. But that ancient corporal punishment means enforcing something on people. If you did it wrong, you're going to be painfully tortured. Okay, that's ancient practice. Okay, so then the rest of it at the bottom, it's still mouth symbol, and then I share this vertical line, and then have this a second convex shape above it. That means number 10 above the mouth. That means ancient. Ancient, because mouth symbolize generation or people in general. And if we have the 10, which is the roping method of the vertical line is the rope, and then the horizontal line, in this case, is stylized, doing this up tilted corner thing, because the top horizontal line is also going upward. So it's following the curve. So things are more unified, right? This is an indicator, kind of like an arrow pointing to show that there is a knot over there. So this rope knotting, once it was knotted, it means number 10. So number 10 plus mouth means 10 generations. 10 generations in Chinese already regarded as ancient. If it's 10 generations old, so probably that's like what? Probably 200 years ago, right? 10 generations. Yeah. And so now we have this corporal punishment tool that symbolize authority, symbolize enforcement, and then plus this ancient concept. So my second interpretation of that is this ancient wisdom, whichever the 10 generations ago, at least, to qualify it as ancient wisdom, kind of enforcing whatever that ancient wisdom passed down to us, still enforcing this corporal punishment symbol to mean it's still carried out, it's still executed the way it was 10 generations ago. And why that becomes speaking? Because to speak is a power. To use language is a power. And in your day-to-day speaking is functional speaking. It doesn't really matter much because sound are going to disappear. You're not going to be remembered unless you made it into this 10 generations concept of ancient, like your words, whatever you discovered or used, are incorporated into part of the culture that's going to dictate in the future, 10 generations later, how people are doing things in the future. And that's the kind of voice we're talking about. It's kind of passing through time-honored wisdom or practice. And that's the kind of voice. It's related to kind of like a power structure, right? Whose voice, whose discovery, whose ideas got preserved in this culture and going to dictate this corporal punishment tool symbolizing dictatorship going to be executed in the future. So that's my second reading. I think both of them make sense, right? And I'll keep discovery if I see symbols like assemble it, disassemble it in different ways, unpack it in different ways. They're like little Lego pieces. I pull it apart in different ways and new meanings emerge. I will share that with you. And that's the fun of it. Okay. So now we have one voice, right? This voice, whoever make it a voice, is not everyday talk. It's whatever culturally endorsed wisdom. Okay. Tang, we have the top down structure and the bottom means soil. Okay, the soil come up with this almost like a cross-looking thing. The first horizontal line is the ground level. And the vertical line means a plant. It didn't specify what kind of plant. And then at the bottom, a longer horizontal line. That is an indicator, kind of like an arrow pointing thing, to point toward the end, the very tip of that root. So it means the surrounding of the root. And the root is surrounded normally by soil. So that's a Chinese very indirect way to say soil. And this two horizontal line plus one vertical line, and with the vertical line have to poke through the top one because it has to have above ground and underground two portions to make it a plant. And then the vertical line cannot puncture the second horizontal line because the horizontal line have to connect to the very tip of the root to mean the surrounding of the root. Very exact in that way. So soil symbol using here, kind of a building material, because I would imagine ancient times, after we graduate from caveman age, right, kind of a natural habitat, we start to build our own shelter, and soil was one of the building materials. So when you see soil, that means kind of a human civil engineering project. Okay, the top here means kind of high expectation or goal or higher ground or moral sense. Okay, it came from this mouse symbol. It look the same, right? It's a mouse symbol, and then with a kind of arch, kind of a space with a pointer toward a direction. So somebody said this is north-facing window opening. So north-facing window opening. So this arch thing is a human shelter, so it's a house. And this box, instead of being a mouse, over there, it's a window. And then the pointer is kind of a chimney looking thing, right? It's a direction. It's directionally pointing toward the north. I'm not sure if Chinese back then already used upward pointing as the north pointing. I'm not sure, like geography wise, it happened to converge to the current geography. Like north is actually upward pointing. I mean, that's culturally decided, is arbitrary as well. So I'm not sure if Chinese arbitrary happen to like agree with the Western, navigation based north pointing means upward pointing into the space. I'm not sure if there is a correlation over there, but happen to be upward pointing, north facing window. And then this hyperbola shape it means the air is spread open. So that's something that occurs very often in Chinese language creation that I haven't fully figured out yet. So this air opening can mean separation, right? Can mean kind of spreading out, can mean actually peaceful. It's detensify of something, right? So up north pointing, this spreading out of energy combined together, eventually it means like morally high ground, or actually you adore something, respect something, because in a few episodes ago we talked about like you adore military or martial, so militaristic was used with this character that kind of like you're culturally you're prioritize something, so that's your value system, right? So you value something over there, so this becomes like a value orientation. So I guess this north facing window, almost like in English expression today we have North Star, right? So it's the guiding direction. It means like you're orienting toward a certain direction. And then this spreading out means like things are happening the way you orient it, because it's kind of you're cutting through the space And one is separated, means you're moving forward. And then that is a good thing. So this orientation eventually means culturally you value something. And cultural high ground, let's put it that way. So when it paired with this soil symbol, that's kind of civil engineering, right? Building stuff, it becomes hall. So it's kind of high ground building material combined together to mean high ceiling structure, high ceiling. Normally in ancient habitat. So probably the living room is the highest roofed building of your household, because that's where the visitors will come, you'll gather, versus like your bedroom, your study. They're probably less high ceiling because you want to, it's a single person or double person existence space, versus town is more population over there, right? Not population, like more people, suppose like the whole household will gather there, or plus the visitors, the guests. So that's the highest ceiling space in your household. So that's what we normally mean when we say tang. That means the hall, the living room, the highest ceiling place. So yi yan tang means tang obviously is a gathering place, right? So it means there's only one voice in that meeting room. So this picture is depicting, okay, it looks like it's a meeting, but everything coming from this one mouth, one speaker, that makes decision and require execution, and also boss people around that supervise them. So everything, there is no delegation, there's no second thought, there's no debate about ideas. It's just one person make the call. So it's his meeting. The rest of them are just sitting there, listen. It happened to me. I definitely was one of the sitters at the table in one of the companies, one of the earliest employers, required the whole company show up at 8 a.m. in person. This is way pre-COVID time. So everybody in the whole company have to gather under one big meeting room, listen to that boss speaking for 1 hour nonstop. And it's a Korean speaking boss. And I don't speak Korean, so someone have to translate for us. And the translator sometimes will skip the long passage of whatever the boss was talking. It's like, it doesn't matter, it's not relevant. So that's what yi yan tang feels like. And I'm not sure if in English speaking world, that's actually a common phenomenon. Probably not, right? That's not the dynamics over here. But that definitely exists a lot, prevalent in East Asian culture, Chinese, Korean, Japanese. The boss sit and talk. Yeah, that's yi yan tang, and translated autocratic, like one brain, one voice, one decision maker. So that's what yi yan tang is about. Catching to the concept of thinking about one word a day with Sophie. See you another.